Okay, so I just finished presenting Fred Jones and Ross Green to my Aunt Rosanna and my brother Joe. So now I'm going to ask them a few questions to see their reactions and their thoughts on these two approaches, the frameworks. So my first question for you guys is, so right off the bat, which framework author do you guys agree with?
We agree with Ross Green because he's more of a interaction with the child, not just telling the child what to do, but listening to the child and understanding what he's going through. So there may be
Right.
a better approach.
It's doable and more realistic approach.
Okay, so number two, do you guys believe or do you believe that you would use Ross Green's discipline tactic if you had your own children?
Sure.
Yeah,
I would.
I think I would use probably like B because I would want to know what my kids are thinking or how they're going to react.
Okay. Um, why do you not agree with Fred Jones? And what is one thing that stuck out to you that you did not like about Fred
Well,
Jones?
with Fred Jones, it's like he just wants to be the boss. He wants to control everything, and sometimes that's not a great approach because kids want to rebel to that. So
Exactly. I agree with that too.
Okay. My next question is, so Ross Green has three different plans. He has plan A, plan B, and plan C. So plan A was that the adult is consistently deciding the solution or the unsolved problem with the child. It's pretty much what the adult says goes. Plan B was coming up with a problem or a solution collaboratively with the child. So when the adult and the child discuss and agree on a solution. And plan C was prioritizing and addressing certain situations or discussing certain problems before or after to solve the situation. So after hearing the three different plans, which plan stuck out to you most, and which one do you see yourself using if you had your child or even in a classroom setting?
I believe Plan C is better to use because it's prioritizing is good to do, and it gives it just you come up with you prioritize the problems based on the situation. So I think it's a better approach.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that as well. How about you, Joe?
I would probably use Plan B.
Okay,
The
why?
reason I would use Plan B is because prioritizing. I mean, it's good, but when you use Plan B, it's like you kind of talk, you communicate with the kid, you understand what he's going through or she. You know, you want to know what they're feeling or how they're feeling about you or how they're feeling about the situation, and then you can go ahead after that and decide how to approach the problem.
Right. I agree with that.
Okay, so you would use both plans then in that case?
Yes.
Both of you, because you
Sure.
think that both work out. Yeah, I agree. I think I would do the same. So my next question is, do you think that Jones and Green would get along based off of their different approaches? How do you think that they would get along or not?
I don't think they would get along
Why not?
because Jones is like just wants to take control, and even though Ross's plan A is sort of similar to that, but overall, I don't think he's all about that. He's more about understanding what's going on and then prioritizing problems, so they might not get along.
Right. They'll use the same approach that they use on the children on each other, and it will not. I don't think it will work out.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Okay, So my next question for you guys is, so Jones is all about being the boss, and Ross Green states in Plan B to take control of the situation by communicating with the child and figuring out the situation, right? So if you knew these two different frameworks, and based off of the little clip that I showed you with the little boy throwing a tantrum in the market, if you were in the market and your son or daughter threw a tantrum in the middle of the market just like that little boy did, can you guys give me an example of how you would react to that?
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
I would probably give in to him at that moment, not to create a further scene at the supermarket.
Okay.
But the minute we walked out of the supermarket, probably in the car or at home, I would explain to him that that was not an acceptable behavior, and if it happens again, the consequences will be different and he will not get his way. That's how I would handle that situation.
Okay.
I don't know about that approach. I would probably take a more, like, I would react maybe a little bit stronger, or a little
So
bit.
you want to be more aggressive?
A little bit more
Okay.
aggressive, exactly. I'd probably react a little bit more aggressive, probably take him out to the car and just yell at him or something. Make sure that he doesn't do that again in front of people, just making a fool of himself and out of me too. So that's probably an approach I would use. Obviously, after in the car or whatever, you would speak to him and you know, but at that time, that's just not the way to react.
Okay, so what would you do, Lynn?
In that situation?
Sure.
In that situation, I honestly, it's hard to say. It's a rough situation to be in. But if I had a kid who was having a tantrum in the middle of the store, I would probably just, I probably wouldn't buy the candy for the child, because in my opinion, that's giving in to the child, and you're giving in to the tantrum. So if you're gonna buy the candy for the child, and the child is going to continuously keep throwing a tantrum every single time you're out and he or she wants something, then all they have to do is throw the tantrum for you to buy it. All they want is that. They don't care about the talk later. For them, it's, oh, you bought me the candy or whatever it was. So I would not buy whatever it is for the child, just to show that this is not going to work. And then I would probably aggressively take them out of the store. I would leave everything and I would take them out of the store and put them in the car and probably take them home and explain to them, this is the situation, you can't do this, and probably yell at them or punish them or whatever it is. So I probably wouldn't be taking either of their approaches, because they don't like, their approaches is not about punishment. So I probably would not be agreeing with them, but that's my approach on it. So anyways, okay, so Ross Green's Plan C that we discussed about his approach on him recommending prioritizing and deciding what to address first and what to leave for later. Do you guys think that this approach works? Do you think that it's a positive way of disciplining your child?
I think it works because, as I mentioned in my previous example, how I decided to give in at the moment, but then later tried to discipline him. I think that works. I think that's effective.
I want to disagree. I want to say that it might be effective under the right situation. Like, I don't think I would react like that if my child was at home and he was breaking things around the house and just throwing things if he wanted something. I don't think I could use the, second approach. But if he was acting in more calm, like in a calm way, then I would try to use it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, so it just depends on the situation, you're saying?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Not every situation is the same. Supermarket situation, home, how the kid's reacting, what he's doing. You could apply different things in different factors.
Yeah, I guess. Odos, would you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. Okay, so Joe, because you don't have kids yet of your own, and Rose, you have a son of your own. I guess this question is directed to you. Would you be able to give me an example of a time where you and your son had a situation or an argument with one another where he was not getting his way, and how did you handle that? Did you use either of the framework approaches? Did you use either Jones or Green's approach? Do you agree with the way?
Sure. One thing that comes to mind is he was asking for a certain video game, and he kept asking for it for several weeks, and then I decided to come up with a plan because I didn't want to just let him have what he wanted. So I discussed with him and told him that if he brings his grades up and if he brings in certain grades at the end of the semester, then I would let him to have what he wants. So I think I used a little bit of I am the boss situation. I decided for him what to do, and that's what he did. So, and maybe a little bit of a reward system.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think either of them, either Fred Jones or Ross Green, believe in rewarding children, but definitely they both definitely have a sense of I'm the boss in this situation. So yeah, I guess
Right.
yeah, that works. Okay, so what is one thing that you guys liked about the presentations? Did anything stick out to you guys?
I like Fred Jones factor with the red, yellow, and green system.
Okay, why?
I think that it's a good system. How they use the red, the front, the zone. That's like where you have to be quiet because you're under the teacher's radar. The middle, it's yellow, so it's like in the medium, the middle, and the green, it's like the kids back then could do whatever they want, and that's how it was when I went to school.
So it reminded you of your school days?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
That makes sense. Okay. I'm sure you were always in the green zone.
Always in the back making noise.
Of course. So
So
that's
what
what
did
he's
you
trying
like?
to avoid here. He's trying to avoid
Right.
kids like you goofing off in the back green
Right.
zone.
That's what the back is for.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Okay. How about you, Rose? What stuck out to you?
I like the enforcement of the rules constantly. That gives them guidelines and lets them know that the teacher means what he says. And I think that's very effective to be consistent.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. I mean, even if it's not in the classroom, I think that works.
Which method did you like?
Honestly, I prefer Ross Green's Plan B. Plan B, I think, is the best, or is what I would try to use, honestly, because yeah, it may be hard trying to discuss and communicate with your child, especially in a situation where like you're having an argument with your child, or there's some situation going on and you guys are yelling or whatever it is. It's hard to stop and start communicating with your child and trying to understand and come up with a solution, especially
lot
at a
of
time like
patience.
that. Yeah, it's hard at the moment, but I think that's one of the best approaches to use. It would be the smartest way to go about it. So
Okay.
that's my approach. Okay, so the last question for you guys is, what did you guys think about the breathing exercise at the end of Jones's presentation? Do you guys think that that's something you can use like throughout your day, with your children, with any situation?
Yeah, I think I've come to find that breathing exercises, they do work. I've used a couple of different ones, and I think that this one would work too, and I would most definitely also show it to my mom, because she can use it also.
Yeah, I think mom needs some of that.
They're very
Breathing.
effective. I use them a lot of the times, and I do find that they're effective and they help Having a teenage son at home, I do need to use those breathing techniques a lot.
I'm
So-
sure.
So they help.
I'm sure of that. That's good. Well, I'm glad that you guys can use that exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much. That it was helpful. It was fun discussing this with you guys and teaching you guys my presentations. So thank you.
Thank you, and I learned a lot.
Thank you.
Being a mom, I learned very useful information.
And I use a lot of information that I'll probably use in the future.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm glad. Thank you again.
Sure.
Thank you for having us.